All right. This is tough stuff. I know. Study Girl says it is gut wrenching to address. Uncomplicated hoarding. Allowing it to pile up is gut wrenching too. And the principles are similar. It is similar and it is gut wrenching. And it's really hard when you have seniors that have been hanging on to stuff for a long period of time. And then it becomes either a health hazard or a trip hazard. And they can get through their home now with their mobility devices. That's either a wheelchair or it's a walker or it's a little walker with wheels on it, things that they're using to support themselves. And if they're tripping on items in their house, that's a safety issue for them. And so we don't ever want it to get to a point where we're sleeping in our cars, where we can't sleep on our bed because there's overwhelming stuff. We don't want it to get to the point where there's uneaten food or there are, I don't know, soda cans that still have some residue in them. And you get ants that are attracted to that. And there's a less than desirable situation that comes as a result of letting things go. Okay. We don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we let things go. And so going back to the earlier question about let's gather all the facts and the information, one of the things that might be paralyzing us is we don't know what to do. But if we start thinking it through a logical basis, and we might need a friend to help us do this. You bring in the boyfriend that instead of inviting him in because you were scared, you bring him in and say, hey, can you have a conversation with me about some of this stuff? And maybe another person with another set of eyes can say, hey, listen, if nothing else, can we just get rid of all the soda cans or the soda bottles that have ants in them because there's still soda pop at the bottom and it's attracting the ants? Can we just get rid of those? And you might say, yes, I have no attachment to that whatsoever. And that might be an easy place to start. So even if you're paralyzed, even if you don't have a checklist, but I recommend you get one because it will help streamline the questions that you have. Okay. If the question on the checklist is you go through and you remove all of the trash, well, you can go in and you might not want to get rid of anything with emotional attachment. You might be able to say, I can get rid of all the paper plates. I can get rid of all the pizza boxes and get rid of all of the soda cans or the soda bottles, right? That might be an easy place to start, but it's like building the muscle. Once you start building the muscle, it starts getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And you say, okay, now that I've gotten rid of all the trash, now I can get rid of the dishes. So you start moving all of the dishes out. Logically, what happens to the dishes? Well, in a perfect world, they go to the kitchen sink. Oh, no, there's too much stuff in the kitchen sink. So logically, what has to happen? Well, loads of dishes, okay? So let's start the loads of dishes so that we can start whittling away at the dishes process. And so just by focusing on that one item, we're not focusing on the whole house. We're not focusing on the closet. We're not focusing on the garage full of stuff. We're focusing on just the one thing, which is the dishes. And by focusing on one small area, it's like a domino effect. Because if we're going to do the dishes and that's our only focus, what does that mean? What it means is eventually I'm going to see a cabinet and it's going to be empty. It's not going to have anything on it. So what is the next logical step? And it's a domino effect. Well, let me clear off this counter. And what else is on here that's not dishes? Well, maybe you have some papers and maybe that weasels its way into your next section, which is what do I do with the paperwork? Do I have coupons and do I have trash and do I have mail and do I have bills? And then the next question might be, what am I going to do with those? And you start with the easiest thing first. And you say, I'm going to get rid of all of the junk mail and the advertisements first. Okay. Don't worry about the bills. Don't worry about all this other stuff. Just get rid of the junk advertisements first. And as you sort through stuff, you might say, well, lo and behold, while I'm doing this, I could make a stack of all the bills. Okay, great. Put them in a stack. You see how that's a domino effect and one thing leads to the next? The more you do, the better your exercise muscles for organizing become. And as you start getting rid of stuff, it's going to increase those muscles as well. Now, there was a woman whose house we cleaned. When we went to her house, she had lots of shelves. And part of the problem was she kept buying more shelves for all of her stuff. And her living room looked like kind of like a little mini Office Depot where you had all these rows of shelves. And she had a little step ladder that she could move from aisle to aisle. And bless her heart, she kept hiring this handyman to come build these shelves for her. And they would like arrive in a box and we would put them together and put her stuff on them. And it was neatly organized. But the problem was this. In her 80s, she has this little step stool that she's trying to move from aisle to aisle so she can get to her stuff. So I have a problem with that because I do not want any 80-year-old person climbing up on a step ladder in their house when they live alone to lift heavy boxes of stuff that was put up there by a handyman who is not there to help take it down. Okay. You see where we're headed with this? It's just not a good scenario. Instead of organizing the stuff we have to get rid of a whole bunch of that stuff that we're never going to use again is okay. It's okay. We had a conversation with a woman this last week, and she said, I've got a second house that is fully furnished with all the stuff in it. I just can't let it go because it's good stuff. Okay. But you're in the 80s and you're never going to go there again. Okay. So we have to start having different conversations about which of your children do you want this to go to? Can we start labeling those items right now? Can we start inventorying those items right now? Can we let those kids come pick up those items right now so that you get to witness how much they enjoy those items that you're giving them? And if the kids don't want any of it right now, now is the time to decide. We don't want to be hanging on to all of that stuff until she passes away, because one day she will. And then everyone in the family is going to fight over it, or they're going to feel obligated to get rid of it. And if they do, then what? Maybe she was treasuring something and then it's just going to go into a landfill, or it's just going to be donated to the Goodwill or something because the person that came next didn't see any value in it, right? We want to pay attention to the things that really matter while we have the chance to do that.